Roll Tide, everybody. Roll Tide. Happy Thanksgiving. And I got to tell you, this is going to be a great edition of Catfish Courtside because Bama is rolling in hoops. And another really big win out in Vegas. We're going to get into that. The victory over Rutgers, back-to-back wins for the Tide. What does that mean? And what, more importantly, are they going to do out in Sin City until Saturday? All that coming up right here on the show after this. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, Kat. I'm thankful for your friendship, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you, man. Hope you have a good one today.
Yeah, man. Happy Thanksgiving. You know, what a great day it is. Just you got food, you got sports, you got Bama basketball, you got a big weekend coming up in Tuscaloosa. Friends, family, hanging out with you, hanging out with the people on the channel today. Life's good, man.
Happy to you guys, too. Happy Thanksgiving, and thankful for all of you guys that hang out with us here on the channel and talk Alabama on a daily basis, and for supporting us, man. Roll Tide. All right, let's get into the game yesterday. I want to hear your take. 95-90, another win for Alabama. It was a good game. Rutgers is a good team.
Yeah.
Bama hung in there. They couldn't quite shake Rutgers until the end, but they did it. And Amori got a little revenge against his old school.
I'm really eager to see how this Rutgers team looks the rest of the season because, Mick, when you go into that matchup, the Bama-Houston one, that was the jersey matchup, right? Like you're facing the name on the jersey, and it's a big win. Even though Alabama's beaten Houston, it's just one of those like, hey, let's establish our dominance this year. When you play Rutgers, you know, the name doesn't mean as much, but man, that team is good. Yeah. And I'm really curious to see how they finish in the Big Ten this year and what they're able to do, because that Rutgers team with those two freshmen that they had last night, they're unbelievable. I mean, Harper and Bailey are just fantastic. And the thing that made me nervous early on was you could tell Bama early did not match Rutgers' intensity in the ball game. And Rutgers came out of the starting gate. They were out hustling Alabama. They were a little more scrappy, a little more energized, a little more, hey, we're here to knock you off. Whereas Bama had that vibe of, hey, we won the big one last night. And hey, as our buddy Chris Stewart tweeted out yesterday, you know, Bama did go through the AEW wrestling match the night before against Houston. Yeah. It was physical. It was brutal. But Bama, just the way they were able to maintain, not take an opponent for granted, eventually match their intensity and hang on. The big thing for me right now with Alabama is the positives are somebody different contributes every game.
Right.
Like they're so deep, they can get buckets from anybody. The one like concern that I have is, and it's still early, but this is like if you're picking on some stuff, they can't put teams away in the second half. They've now had an 8-point lead against Houston. They had a 6-point lead against Purdue. They had a 9-point lead last night. And it's always like middle of the second half. And they're just not putting anybody away. They're not stretching that lead to 15 points or 18 points or whatever it is and making it insurmountable. Instead, all of a sudden it becomes a dogfight. And it's always seems to be in that like 11 to 6 minute window in the second half where teams kind of make a comeback.
Well, the Mark Sears show continued after having the game against Illinois where Bama scored 100 and he didn't do anything offensively, got into foul trouble and everything else. Back-to-back games where he's led the way, and it's not like you have to have those 24 points, but I'll tell you what, they're big points. And the minute he starts scoring, I feel like he's the guy that opens up the door for everyone else because you have to pay so much attention to him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Houston did. That's what Illinois did. It's what Purdue did. Everybody just tries to lock down Mark Sears. Like Mark Sears' NBA draft stock is going to be showcased not necessarily in the stat book, but in how he responds and how he creates and how he has an impact on the game when he's the one guy where everybody is saying, Sears can't beat us. If somebody else beats us, it is what it is. But Sears can't beat us. And Yeah, he went 0 against Illinois, first time in 4 years when he was back at Ohio. 24 against Houston, 24 against Rutgers. But even Sears, and he'll tell you, as great as he is in certain situations on the floor, Sears isn't up to the Sears standard yet. Like, he's still making a few inadvertent passes. He still turned the ball over a couple of times. Some of that comes with risk versus reward. Sears is the best player on the team, the biggest threat on the team. But even he would tell you 2 good games, but there are things he can clean up. And it's only November. So I'm so excited for how much better he's even going to be as we go into the month of December after Saturday's matchup.
I'm excited about this team. This is the golden age of Bama basketball. I mean, there's just no other way to say it, where you can go out and play in any of these tournaments and it's not luck that you're winning. It's luck when you lose that the other team beat you. I mean, Bama's that deep, that good. I'm just starting to feel like they're reaching their potential scoring, but I feel like they could do better defensively. Like, I don't feel like they're quite there yet. Like, look, I got this hat on right here, this retro hat. They got to wear those hard hats.
Yeah.
And the hard hats are like defense. I'm waiting on them to just be a little bit better defensively. And I think it'll come. And I feel like that effort and that defensive intensity that we saw in the Final Four last year isn't quite there yet with this team. So that's one area that, that they could get better in.
Well, here, I actually brought this up a couple of episodes back, and I want to go over that with you because I'd love to know your take on this.
Okay.
Alabama last night, sloppy with the basketball. What's crazy is they scored 95 points and had 20 turnovers. Rutgers only had 9. So Alabama lost the turnover battle by a margin of 11. But going back to my earlier point where they spread the ball around and they get contributions from everyone, they had 5 players in double figures.
Yeah.
You had Grant Nelson, Mark Sears, Darian Reed, Mo Diabate, and then Jaron Stevenson woke up last night. Hit a couple of threes, made all of his free throws, actually had an impact on the game in a positive way last night after a really slow start. So credit to him. But Mick, let's use and compare this to the football world for a moment, because I think everybody will relate to this, okay? When the Big 12, 10, 15 years ago, what was the stigma? What was their reputation? What was their brand? It was offense, slinging it, score, never played defense, right? Like, it was always it's a Big 12 defense. What do you think? This is a Big 12 game? It's Big 12 defense. It'd be 49-42. So same for basketball here. And Bama's defenses are better than those Big 12 defenses if you're trying to correlate the two.
Right.
But in basketball, and when you're running, like Alabama is constantly running.
Yeah.
They are not running set half-court offenses. I mean, they do, but if they can run, they're running. So when you're doing that, you're going to give up more transition buckets because the other team and the pace of play and how fast you get going. But the other team is simply also going to have more possessions. Like, they're just going to have more opportunities.
Right.
So if you get more shots, if you get more opportunities because your offense is playing at such a fast level, I think, and I complained about this last year. I thought about it some early on this year. I'm like, man, why do we keep giving up 80 points, 90 points to these teams? And you start thinking about it, it's like pace of play. They just run so hard, so fast, so often. And now that you've got legitimately 10 guys on the roster who can all play, it's not like there's some major fall off with the bench. I mean, everybody can essentially play. I just look at it and I go, maybe the defense isn't the problem. It's just the style of play. Like, Alabama's not going to win games 85-67.
Right. Yeah.
They're going to win a game 103-89. And you're going to stare at the 89 and go, man, how do we get that down? It's like, you can't, because you're scoring 103 and you're scoring it so fast that the other team ends up having more possessions. So I think that's more of it. Rutgers last night shot pretty well, 44% from the field, but they only shot 15% from beyond the arc, only made 2 threes all night long. So nice job, guarding the perimeter there by Alabama, and not a bad job interior.
What do you think about the roster so far? You were talking about how deep it is. Who are the guys that you feel like stand out to you? Like, I really like the size of Clifford Amari. I talked
Yeah.
about that. It's like he doesn't really score that much. I mean, like you look at him and you feel like, man, there's be a potential to add more than 4 points in a game, but and that's what he scored against Houston. But I mean, I feel like he's just a presence, man. I mean, I feel like him and then Mo Diabate. I like the big guys.
Yeah. The difference in this year's team is the length. Diabate was on last year's team, but he just didn't see the floor very much. He hadn't gained that experience a lot of times. And so I'm with you. I said the exact same thing to my buddy Adam, who I was texting last night during the game. I was like, watching Amori on all these games, he's constantly in foul trouble, but he's just such a big guy and such a big presence. You're not looking at him as he's not going to score you 14, 16 points around the rim, but he is just a rebounding presence. He's a shot blocking presence. He keeps other people out of the paint,
right?
Because he's just massive.
Yeah.
So you said it perfectly. It's more just the presence of him. Mm-hmm. And then last year you really had Nick Pringle and then Grant Nelson, right? I mean, Stevenson was on the team, but he was more Noah Clowney from the year before. So it was just, you were thin in the bigs. Now you've got Nelson, you've got Amori, you've got Darian Reed, you've got Diabate, you got Sherelle, you got Stevenson, you got all these guys who are interchangeable. And what's really dangerous here, Mick, is last night, Darian Reed hit 2 threes, 2 for 3 from beyond the arc. Aiden Sherelle, sorry, 1 of 1 from beyond the arc.
Right.
Grant Nelson only took 2 threes, but he can shoot the 3. We know that because he did it against Illinois. So Stevenson, 2 for 3 last night. I just mentioned every big guy other than Diabate who can shoot a 3 and Amori who's not going to shoot 3s.
Right.
So when your bigs can also extend out to the perimeter like that and give just another option from beyond the arc, then that's what makes the roster and the team just so dangerous. Last night, Alabama, 40% from beyond the arc.
Yeah, right.
They didn't take as many threes as they normally do. They only took 25. And I say only. They're usually in the 30s and 40s. And they only took 25, but made 10 of them. And so Alabama, they've just got weapons everywhere. And so the bigs are really, just such an addition to this year's team compared to last.
Well, the other thing too is that Nate Oates is really able to kind of stretch the bench. I mean, when you talk about minutes, right? I mean, some of the guys on the bench, Reed, Diabate, and Holloway played more minutes than 2 of the starters in the game, playing all those guys played at least 20 minutes, right? And then Stevenson played 16, so he played more minutes than the starters. You know what? That's the one thing I've always liked about Nate Oates. It was like Quinterly was kind of that off the bench guy, but it seems like he's always like coming off the bench or starting. Doesn't really matter. It's just kind of how the game turns out. The situation, obviously, fouls make part of that, how they're going to defend us. But we're so deep when it comes to being able just to change styles. I mean, we could slow it up and play that with the big guys like you're talking about. But we're constantly trying to push the ball down the floor and score. And we can do it in different ways, right? We can attack the basket or we can shoot the threes. And what I really love about great teams is they make free throws. And so far, so good in that area.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny you say that because I agree with you. They have. Last night, they actually didn't, shooting 70 or 69% from the line last night. But yes, this year, they have been shooting better at the charity stripe. And that's what I mean. Like, Amori's such a presence, and some of those bigs are such a presence that it allows you to play more aggressive. Because if one gets in foul trouble, it sucks. But hey, guess what? We got another guy who can step right in and come into the lineup, and it's not really a drop off. So it gives you that ability to go in there and bang around, be physical, block shots, go for balls underneath, rebound more aggressively. Alabama out-rebounded Rutgers last night 43-31. So, again, that team is scrappy. One of my favorite plays from last night was at the end of the game, Alabama missed. It was either the front end or the second shot of a 1-and-1 or a 2-shot. It had to have been 2 shots at the line, but missed the second. And when they did, there were 3 guys scrapping looking for the basketball.
Right.
And Alabama got an offensive board when they needed it. It was under a minute to go, maybe under 30 seconds. And it was just one of my favorite plays because of the hustle. People diving on the floor, back tapping, getting their arms locked up, banging around, like I said. The team has a lot of effort, a lot of heart, and that's going to carry so far.
Hanging out with us, guys, on really a great Thanksgiving. I want to tell you that as you kick it with us here, got a special offer for you, a Thanksgiving deal from New Life Art. Boom. Let me throw it right up on the court. Got this yesterday, so this is fresh. NewLifeArt.com. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate. Catfish, you can use this promo code too, so don't be afraid to take advantage of it. But you're talking about 25% off. So 25% off. The coupon is good through Monday, the 2nd, 25% off site-wide. So take advantage of that at newlifeart.com. Now's the time. Get those holiday gifts bought. I almost feel like I need to put a banner up because that's a great deal.
Oh, it really is, man. I'm sure most people on here have at some point at least seen a Daniel Moore painting in New Life Art. Like you've at least seen one if you don't have one. I can't tell you how amazing they look on the wall. Like it's so good, and especially compared to the competition. He's amazing. I've been collecting those things for 25 years. They're unbelievable. I want to say one of my first ones was Rebirth in the Swamp.
Yeah, that was one of mine too. That was one of the first ones I was actually in school for.
Yeah, you remember that one. That was 2 weeks post Louisiana Tech.
Oh man,
Rebirth in the Swamp.
That was the opposite. It was really the opposite of the Georgia game this year,
Yeah, it was.
We had the heartbreak and then we won, right?
Yeah, that's right.
But take advantage of that, guys. Promo code Bama Tailgate, 25% off site wide, and that is good until Monday, the 2nd. So that's coming in on us. All right. Well, now what? So we qualified for the championship game, and that means that we're playing Oregon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's before we played North Carolina and Creighton, North Dakota. I mean, this schedule is a gauntlet, man. So funny, but I love the matchup, man. This is another one of those teams that you could see in the tournament, maybe deep in the tournament.
Yeah. I mean, Dana Altman, man, remember the Oregon Ducks got Alabama early last year down in the Emerald Coast Classic down in Destin. Oregon beat up on Alabama. So this is one of those that Crimson Tide, just needs to take care of business. You're going to be the higher seed. You're going to be favored. You're in Vegas. People are going to be throwing money on you down in the lobby while you're, in the arena. It's just
right.
50 feet away.
Legally take it now.
Yeah. It'll be crazy. So we'll see with Bama. They're in a spot, again, if we said before, or I said anyway, starting with Purdue, Illinois, Houston, Rutgers, North Carolina, and Creighton, because we didn't know who Saturday's game would be. And then I'm kind of doing a gimme on a couple of these others. But those 6 games plus the one Saturday, I said, if Alabama goes 4-2 in that stretch, that's a heck of a stretch. Well, right now they're 3-1. Got a chance to be 4-1.
Right.
And then you got North Carolina on the road before you host Creighton. That's a great run. Like if you walk out of that at 7-3 overall, 8-2 overall, something like that, then that says a lot about how good this team is and how much, they can handle pressure wise and going on the road and being away. So remember, Mick, they haven't been in Tuscaloosa since, what was it, November the 11th?
I know. And that's probably good. Let football clear out. And then when you get back, be battle tested and ready to roll. There are some really great games, which, by the way, Bama's a big favorite against Oregon, although the Ducks are 7-0. Bama,
what did it come out at?
What's that?
I haven't seen it. What did it come out at?
It's well, I'm just looking at the so right here, the game matchup predictor says Bama's a 73.4% chance winner in the game.
Wow.
So let me see where the see if it's got the spread on.
And I had that backward.
What's that?
One thing I did have it backwards is I got the O's confused. Bama actually beat Oregon last year down in Destin. It was Ohio State that they lost to.
Oh,
So
okay.
they beat Oregon. So Oregon will be looking for the revenge. I had my O's crisscrossed, but Bama just saw them 12 months ago. So
Yeah. I don't see it on here, but where would you guess? I mean, that normally means it's like a 7 or 8 point spread, would you say?
Yeah, it may not be out yet just because they haven't or sometimes with basketball you don't get the line. It's not like football. You don't get the line until the day of.
Mhm.
I would go Oregon's undefeated. The way Bama's been playing, which isn't bad, just not dominating on some of these games. Let's see if I can grab it. I was going to go
Isn't this
Bama
game worth
minus
$1 million?
Yes. Yeah.
So
I was going to
you
go
win $1 million if you win this game. God, that's crazy. Think about how much college sports have changed, man. Like this is a ransom game, man. 1 million.
Yeah, it's going to be one of those. This is what's cool, going forward. I'm pulling up the Players Era website, but so all these teams, the players, they're basically contributing to the NIL fund. Is what's happening on all of this, and so that's crazy. Like the actual money is now on the line, and how this works. So kind of wild. There's some, I forgot the exact breakout, but like 250,000 to each team just for making it to the championship. I think another like 250 if you win it, and then another 250 from something else. And but it's wild, that it would you have thought even Mick just 5 years ago, literally just 5 years ago, pre-COVID, would you have thought that players would be doing free agency in basketball and football like they are, and that we would now be having tournaments that determined how much money you get into your NIL fund to be split up? I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. It's exciting. The only thing I can tell you though that I don't like about this whole deal is TBS. I don't want TBS to have any more games, right? I have the TBS, but they won't let me watch the game, right? Because for whatever reason, I don't have the right TBS streaming package. And I've heard a lot of other people say that too. No,
Really?
I'm not buying full-time TBS for 2 basketball games, now 3.
Yeah, that's the
Never
problem with
watched the damn
cable.
channel until the tournament.
Yeah. You don't watch Saved by the Bell or Family Matters or anything?
No. It's like,
I don't even know what's on TBS anymore.
I don't either. Like I can watch like all of these like seasons of cartoon shows they have on there, and I'm like, I just want to watch the damn game.
Yeah. I do like I wish they got more airtime. I like Brian Anderson and Grant Hill. I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
But
I
I know what
playing college when he was at Duke.
yeah, but I know what you mean though. It's like TNT and TBS. I think when I'm going to turn on TNT, I'm going to see like Crime Stoppers.
Yeah, right. When it used to be wrestling, I watched it,
Well, yeah, you watch Nitro and everything on Monday night and Thursday Night Thunder or whatever.
The NWO.
Anyway.
Yeah. Right. So now they got to hang out in Vegas. I guess we'll finish the show about this basketball team. Couple things though. Grant Nelson, God, the guy's been really good this year, man. He has continued to play like he did in the tournament, which I remember seeing him at the end of the tournament, and he's like, well, I got to talk to my agent about where I'm playing next year, which I didn't like that answer too much. Then I'm thinking like, okay, are you going to live up to this or not? Hey, man, the guy's lived up to it, man. Yeah, I got to give him that. He's really good.
Every bit of it, man. He's been so solid. Like you said, he has carried over the end of year Grant Nelson. Last year, everybody, it was kind of the whole team in general. It's like, man, this team, because you're coming off 2 years ago being the overall #1 seed. You had big expectations going into the tournament, and you got bounced in the Sweet 16 by San Diego State. Then you get into last year's team, and it's like it just wasn't clicking. It just didn't make sense for whatever reason. Like just something was off. And I think guys like Grant Nelson, it was, where you at, man? Like I think Mark Sears emerged as, wow, we knew Sears was good. We didn't know he could be that good. Like he stepped up. Nelson was just kind of like, man, where is this guy? Where's all the hype? I ain't getting it. By the end of the year, he had it. And now it's like that confidence has just carried over, like you said, man. He's so much fun to watch. So good at what he does and just being a presence on the inside, but then able to pop out, make things. The only thing I would say he's got to get better at right now, and really Alabama in general, Sears, Phylon, Holloway, they can all dribble the basketball. They can do it. They can carry the ball, whatever they want to do. We turn the ball over sometimes when Nelson starts trying to dribble and back in. Like, he's got to work on the dribbling part. Now, if he wants to dribble drive, or if he wants to dribble and back in against a defender down low, he's turned it over a few times like that. Reitzel, lights out shooter, just a sniper from outside.
Yeah.
But same thing, like, he lost the ball a couple of times trying to dribble drive or trying to create. So either Bama's got to get better at that with some of the guys, or they just got to understand who can do it and who can't. But yeah, man, it's so good. And remember, Reitzel missed a lot of games in the tournament last year.
Yeah.
So him being back just adds to how good that team was at the end of last year. Just makes them that much better.
It does. And now they got to spend all these days like Thanksgiving out in Vegas. What are they going to do from now until Saturday? What would you do out there? I've spent multiple days in Vegas. I love Vegas, right? So last year I was out there for Dead and Company at the Spear. Now, I will tell you, I went to 3 shows. You guys know that. I've talked about it. Oh, look, I got a Dead shirt on. And it was amazing. The Thursday show was awesome. The Friday show was better, and the Saturday show was better than the Thursday. But the fact that, you had to like do the concerts kind of like restricted your ability to do a lot of other stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
Like by the time you like get there, you go through the line and all that stuff, you're going to bed when it's over, right? And so there's not a lot of time to really get into trouble. I mean, you're kind of like that. And I'm sure it feels like that for them with basketball. But now you don't have basketball, which has happened to me too. I was out there with the Cubs and I stayed out there for, we played over a weekend, and then I stayed out there for like another 3 days, and I had a blast, man. There's just so much to do. Great restaurants. I'm not even like you, Kat. I'm not I don't go out there and play the table games. I'm more of a sports book guy. I'm not throwing the your dad used to say Montrose, double zeros on the roulette wheel, which was always amazing to see. But these guys might love that stuff. Blackjack. And you can find all of that, by the way, at Pearl River Resort if you don't feel like going all the way out to Vegas. But what are you doing in Vegas if you're these guys until Saturday?
I'm curious what Nate Oates has said, like they finished late last night. You've got literally all day today, which I'm sure will be some team event type stuff, family, friends who traveled out there, whatever, but guys, Vegas doesn't sleep. Those casinos are still rolling. The sports books are still open. So you got all day today, other than probably a team event tonight, it'd be my guess. All day Friday, probably do some sort of a walkthrough or shoot around. And then you don't play on Saturday until 7:30 Vegas time. So that's basically 3 full days of shows, restaurants. Some of these guys have some NIL coin, casinos, going up and down the strip. Maybe they play golf. I don't know. I've been wondering, like, it's such an awkward schedule, right? Like Tuesday, Wednesday, you play, and then it's, now wait till Saturday before you play again.
Yeah. Let's go to the club, guys.
I don't know. Have you ever heard the Pat McAfee story?
No.
He was, I forgot what casino they were in, but Peyton Manning walks by and everybody, and Peyton bumps McAfee, and he's at the roulette wheel, and he says, "How about that red 18?" with the old wink in the gun. And McAfee says he starts just stacking all his chips on red 18 and spun around, goes right in red 18.
No, it did not.
It did. And he said everybody at the casino was like, "Why is Peyton Manning effing talking to you? What are you doing? Why are you betting red 18?" And, McAfee's just got this stack of chips. It pays out. Huge
Was that before he was like, he knew him from being teammates, but
they were on the Colts together, I believe is what it was.
The time when they were playing.
Yeah. It was either like that they were playing because they were together on the trip. So I don't know.
That's so
I think it was, they were just somewhere, whatever, for a weekend or something. Maybe it was right after the season, like a Super Bowl or whatever. But
Right. It's
yeah,
awesome.
that happens. So I don't know, man. If I was there, you know me, we'd be hitting roulette, dice, and some sports books. We'd be on the Bears plus the money, plus the points this morning is what we would be on. But yeah, I just like, God, you remember all those stories about the 08 Sugar Bowl, Alabama,
Yes.
Utah?
Yeah.
And how every Bama football player had basically given up. So they were out on Bourbon Street and in Harrah's and everything the night before the game. Yeah. Like there's just a lot that can go on in Vegas. Maybe they'll be on Pawn Stars. I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look, Kat, before we get off here, it is Catfish Courtside. It's your show. I love being on here. Thank you for having me. Tell everyone about, though, what you do when you're not on here talking Alabama.
Man, we're constantly doing mortgages or helping people or strategizing, whatever the case may be. We helped somebody just last night. It was before tip-off. Somebody was calling up. Hey, another lender told me something wrong. I got 2 weeks to close. So got them set up, got them helped out, got the ball rolling. Actually got them a better rate than even what the other lender did. Same thing 2 days ago. So we're just constantly trying to be available and help people. Holidays are here. So whether you're buying, which by the way, there are deals to be made with sellers. I'm telling you, sellers are lowering prices and they're paying a lot in closing costs, which helps you get a lower rate. People also around the holidays, they're doing cash out refinance basically to help themselves in their situation and getting out of debt. So we've done that. We've helped people save on average $600 to $700 a month. We've helped rescue just 2 deals this week. So if you'd like to chat, but by the way, I had a couple of you reach out and I've enjoyed not just talking mortgages. We've been emailing back and forth, talking ball too. So I've enjoyed that. Website, chadwickanderson.com. Phone numbers 256-509-8200. Hit me up there. We'll be sitting around watching football and heading down for the tailgate show tomorrow.
All right. Yeah. Looking forward to hanging out with you tomorrow. And you guys, I've told you this, I'm being honest, and I wouldn't be in this house if it wasn't for him. He made it happen for me. He took care of a lot of the things that other mortgage companies couldn't or wouldn't do. And it's been a blessing to me to have this studio in this house. First one that I've ever owned under my own name, which is pretty cool. So it's not just because we're friends. I do wholeheartedly endorse the Catfish and what he does on the mortgage side. I also want to tell you guys that we're brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Talking roulette, talking blackjack games, all of it. Yeah. Pearl River Resort, also the Timeout Sports Lounge, which is inside Golden Moon Casino, where you can play $50 and then go out and hit the azaleas. You can hit the Oaks, part of that amazing Dancing Rabbit golf course, for $40. And you don't even need a membership. I was there, and these guys were from Illinois doing the show with Coker last week, and they're talking to me, and the guy's buying clothes to go golf. He's like, hey, we came down here. We work for Walmart, and, we're doing stuff there. And I think these are like guys that do like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, big time guys, but they didn't have golf clothes, and they're buying golf clothes to go. They went to the sports book. They did the 50. They came over and played it for $40. They were really fired up about it. And you can do the same thing. And then you don't even have to be all the way from Illinois in Philadelphia, Mississippi. Had a great time there last week, though. If you like steaks, Philip M. Steakhouse is awesome. Mom and Them's restaurant's great. It's just a really cool circle bar. They have bands that play on the weekends in the casino. It's a whole lot of fun, and it's not that far away. All right, guys, we will talk to you tomorrow. The Tailgate Show is going to be at Innisfree 1 to 4. With Jake Coker, Mick Gillespie, and the Catfish in the house. So we'll see you tomorrow. Roll Tide.
To Pearl River Resort.